No one else wants to do this? All right, we'll call the meeting to order. It's 7:07.
I have a favorite one. Anybody have a kind?
And you're doing minutes?
Yeah.
All right, first order of business, approval of agenda. Yeah, looks fine to me. Second.
Yeah.
I don't know where the agenda item number 4 came from, but I guess we'll find out. Maybe, Matt.
Yeah.
Okay, so approval of the agenda passed.
No.
Pending discussion of item 4.
Well, we can still do it, so we can get to it and go by it.
Second item, approval of October minutes.
And I apologize for not letting everybody know when I was signed with it.
All right, item 3, town plan chapter review and discussion. We're on chapter 3.
Yeah, I read it, but I haven't thought about it. I've got a feeling. This, without thinking of like, but we might want to tweak things a bit.
Yeah.
Almost everywhere. I think we want to get the discussion on the economy, running. Except I mentioned it before, which is fine. But I haven't been thinking it through, so.
Okay.
Well, we might, well, if you're all ready to go on it.
I will have to admit, I've had a bit of a busy month. One of my high schoolers went out on long-term disability, and so I've been covering his role with Cook County, and it's been a little bit crazy. So I actually didn't do a lot of preparation in chapter 3.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I read chapter 4. I
Right.
read instead.
Well, four will take care of itself because of the data that. we've got.
There's still some questions. There's still.
And I must admit, I haven't read over the chapter.
I didn't see headings that I thought, we needed to add to, but.
Okay.
But, that's. And the next chapter. Oh. It's quite straightforward, growth and transportations, and I don't think there's much to worry about the story. I'd suggest that we all commit ourselves to do it right the next time, It's not a lot,
Yeah.
and, what I'm worried on in the economy bit is that, it's a change. And we just want to think about, how we discuss each of these subheadings. And the new thing, obviously, is the, bed and breakfast, how that's taken over. That's a substantial part of our economy now. So,
And just as a side note, I saw that the select board declined to have the kind of warning a nominal amount for the business development group. It's basically Brown Borough based, so Vermonters. Who were the only people that I know of in Wyndham County that are trying to plan, push, organize business development. It's not that.
why that.
Are you saying we're the only people?
Pardon?
We are the only, I missed the noun one.
Well, I saw, I think it was in the select board minutes, that
they declined to have that as the, one of the, line items in the, basically funding of other organizations on our town warrant. And, there was nobody here to defend them, but on the other hand,
Was it there in the past?
apparently.
That's odd.
Yeah, I think it's. Personally, I think it's a little short-sighted. There being the, about the only people that are really trying to. Work in that direction, and we're definitely hurting for that kind of. Development, just sustain everything else that we'd like to do in living here.
That's odd. And there's an item on the town warning that we vote on every year, at town meeting. It was 8 or 10 groups, you know. Parks Place, I think, might be on,
Yeah.
things like that. A lot of them are, you know, these
Senior
organizations that are providing some sort of help in the community. Well, it's $500, $1,000 and so on, and it adds up to 10, 12,000 maybe for all of them. And it's sort of automatic, and over the years, I remember once or twice, you know, someone has raised a question of how we, generally people just poo-poo the person, you know, cheapskate, and this is money for, you know, providing extra food for, you know, the homeless or something like this, you know. So it's a surprise that it was taken out. I wonder, and I don't know the organization, but we might want to just ask the select board if they can tell us why. You know, I mean, and that's it. I think Eric's right. If we talk about the development, you know, our options are getting more and more constrained, you know, the wastewater issue and so on. That's telling us pretty much what our limits are for thinking about this, and you know, an outside group that might have some, you know, some ideas that we should think about. For $500 or so.
I don't know what the amount was.
Yeah, you know, but it would have been enough.
And you say this is the first time that was ever not passed? Or is this a new line item?
I don't know how many years it, may have been on the town warning. It certainly hasn't been on there forever. I don't think the group is. Well, maybe 10 years old or something.
What's the name of the group?
Uh,
But
I want to say Southern Vermont Development or something like that. It's, I think, associated with Brattleboro Development Corporation.
I don't think we've ever removed a group. Not meeting. Is it possible to bring up the warning from last town meeting?
Maybe the group goes for the acronym habits. Vermont economic development. Something like that.
Kind of redone the stuff a little bit, now they have, meeting archives. They have planning commission, board of listers, development review board,
They did redo it.
capital. I actually don't see this stuff. This one.
There may have documents on there which would include the town reports.
Let's get things still get the old one.
Without dealing with under the next topic here on that national water model. Whatever economic development that the planning commission might promote, I would hope that it would be located out of flood danger. And that is, out of flood danger is something that I don't think people realize what we're in for. It's going to be pretty serious. I'm guessing at least within my lifetime, which is maybe not too many more years, but, we're gonna see some floods that, put water where we don't expect it to be. And so we better make sure that when we start, building, economic infrastructure, of whatever kind, we try to keep it out of the floodway, out of special flood hazard area for the most extent we can, and I encourage that any of the building that was done there be basically flood proof. Which would include things like keeping the electricals and utilities of the building above any kind of flood water risk.
So, they have reorganized and they have a spot for the archives. But there are no archives. As of yet. So, I'll ask about that. So, if we're gonna have a follow-up to the select board, Matt usually takes those, should we make a note to him? Yeah, okay. So,
Yeah. Maybe the offices on Lockdown Street, but there might be a town report.
Yeah.
well, the town report as opposed to, I was looking for the select board archives, but
Well,
actually the town report's on here.
yeah, because the town report would have included the warning that you voted on.
There were some down there.
Actually, this year's town report may have last year's town report in the back. I think that's the way they've done things in the past.
Well, I mean, in terms of what was passed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
last,
well, give me a minute. See what the hell's over there, there's a bunch of folders. Just so we can be specific about what organizations we're thinking about.
Did have a section in the economic development on childcare and the lack thereof. Interesting.
So,
So that was kind of restricting opportunity for them.
in our town fund.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the report element.
Well, I didn't read this I'm reading this now, and I read this, I got, whenever it was a couple of years ago, but I wasn't paying attention for being on the planning committee then. But I did not know, and I think that, I mean, I do experience this, but I did not know that it was actually a stated part of the Grafton brand to go after retirees. I mean, that's really, it says that the Grafton brand needs to be fully developed. The town should actively market so that pursue collaborations. Let's see, what was it? Has benefited from the relocation of adults who are at or approaching retirement and age and desire a quieter rural lifestyle. These new full-time or seasonal residents are financially independent, and with this self-sufficiency, they're able to purchase homes, shop locally, and participate in local investment.
That sounds like it is a almost political agenda.
Interesting, elaborate.
No children. No school. No taxes.
Well put, very coaching for him. So, and yet, and so the fact that it is the stated political agenda of this office.
There's a somewhat fly in the ointment there in telecommunication that has sustained us through COVID, and that is that a lot of people in town are able to work from home, and they're of childbearing age, and all of a sudden, oh, we have to fund schools again, yeah. What are we gonna do? Oh, well, let's farm it out to people with vouchers. That's why I find it kind of political.
Of course, I walked right by it first time. Now warning. Okay, Article 10. So the town of Grafton raised $12,081 for humanitarian expenses. So Bellas Falls Senior Center, Grafton Cares, Grafton Church, HCRS, Vermont Rural Fire Protection Senior Solutions, SEPCA, the current Valley Cares, visiting nurses, Women's Freedom Center, Youth Services at Gathering Place, Grafton Cottage Foundation. So these are all humanitarian.
Right,
I don't remember.
that's this year's one.
Yeah, that's what was proposed this year. Passed.
And I think if you look in the back, they may have last year.
Yeah, so it was moved. Article 10, Suzanne Post, seconded by Jack Ryer, and so on. And so, again, humanitarian services, Bellas Falls Senior Center, Grafton Cares, Grafton Church, HCRS Parks Place, Rural Fire Protection, Senior Solutions, SEPTA, the current Valley Cares, visiting nurse, VCIL, others.
It's
Uh,
Vermont League of Cities and Town. Oh,
no,
yeah.
no.
See,
VCIL was in the previous year, I just skipped over it. Women's Freedom. Youth Service. There's nothing else. So it may have been proposed
Maybe it was a new one.
a new one. It wouldn't fall under their general thing of humanitarian
No,
expenses.
it's more like they paid for membership, if you will, and
Yeah,
so
so,
run the Marina Commission.
yeah.
Hmm.
So could someone have proposed it and then they voted it down? And I'm sorry, what's the name of it?
I think, maybe it's Southern Vermont Economic something, maybe you could go by that.
Well, maybe worthwhile if you want to ask them to
Yeah,
reconsider it, or. I don't know anything about it, it might be worthwhile checking it out first, or.
yeah, we want to have yeah, good standing,
Yeah.
in fact, before we run out of the
I
flag.
know it's a front for child labor or something.
Okay, so. Do we still wanna have the follow-up question on that end? Sure,
After we do a little bit of research on that.
okay,
It's. I think it's a worthy group, that's all.
Well, could I ask you then to check it out, maybe just let us know,
Okay, I'll do that, yeah.
and. If it seems reasonable. Then, because if we wait the next month, it'll be too late.
Right,
Um,
and how do we do this? Um. If we put in our minutes that we are. Considering. Um. Comment. On. A. Vermont. Southern Vermont. Development agency, yeah. Do the select board, I think that would be sufficient. We still should have discussion with that, a discussion. Can't go for email, that's something. We're not.
Well, can we,
We can be informed, we can all be informed, but we can't. Include amongst ourselves.
can we? Should direct you to evaluate it, and then pass that evaluation on to Matt. For presentation to the select board.
Okay, that. Yeah. It sounds like that skirts the issue of discussion.
And we're not making a decision on it.
No, we're not advocating one way or another, but,
And, you know, if it seems like a good agent, place, you can do a second email on that and say, this seems worthwhile, as your own personal viewpoint.
the problem comes in. Matt presents it as a position of planning commission. He shouldn't do that, but he can do it as. I think he could do it as just a comment from me being passed to them. That's concerned. Because that does not involve a decision of the report especially. Or in the time constraints. And the problem is. Oh, meeting.
Well, we could direct Matt to bring it up, and the rationale, subject to your doing a little bit of checking is, I happen to be in Brattleboro today, and there must be at least 3 different agencies there doing development. And, I see again and again when I'm checking things online about Vermont and all these separate production things. And I got a feeling it's spending a lot of taxpayers' money, but there's spinning wheels because there's no plan behind it. It's just, we've got to help Vermont grow or something like that. And so any agency to me, that's just a basic general rationale. It's Southern Vermont or Southeast Vermont.
It's a bigger
that
scope.
we're trying to put some things in, then, it has the potential of being valuable. You know, the same agency just for Grafton made it be meaningless.
That's right.
So unless I had a huge budget, you had a huge budget there. Start something, you know, a business, but anyways, so, you know, I can see that as very rationale, is that, you know, coordinated region-wide development could be a very important factor in Grafton's developing economy. So we'd like to rethink this.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you're gonna research, to that as an opinion that can be tested. Okay. Back to the chapter on the economy, it does seem rather important, I know it's pretty shorter chapter, it seems like. Yeah, I don't know, is it just being the mandatory sections of it, is that kind of the layout here, is there more that? Well, the chapter just seems pretty short, it's like a little over 2 pages.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it is one of the required elements.
No, it was required. I remember that, and I remember, as I said, I think I read well over 30 town plans. But, I think it's an indication that within the town, including the planning commission as it exists and as it exists now, we really don't know what the hell to say about it, you know, how to develop the economy, because, you know, the options are so minimal. And, you know, there's no right idea out there that grab.
like, we know what we don't want.
Yeah,
We don't want anything that is gonna be uncharacteristic for the town. That includes, and not that they're coming, no one's thinking of putting in a big box retail, no one's thinking of putting in a big, distribution center, you know, there's, but nonetheless, there.
No, that's what Unified ran as for many years. After it was a burning place, it was a distribution place.
With that fellow's fault.
No,
No,
Unified.
Oh, that place in Kingsport.
yeah, that's in Grafton.
That was a big employer when it was growing.
Yeah, that was. that-
What was it, it was
when
originally,
burning
it was
place.
the big facility was a printing facility?
Yeah.
They actually made paper products and boxed it up and computer paper. you know,
Yeah.
like
Business
pencil,
forms.
computer paper, business forms. I worked there in high school in the summer a couple of times, so
Yeah.
boxing paper and taping it up, putting it on pallets and stuff.
So then it morphed into a business that was basically a warehouse point for commercial office machinery. The particular audio visual stuff went through there, but I don't know what other stuff, I didn't pay that much attention.
Pretty much empty, right, used by, I noticed there's log stage there.
I think the building is just sold, I could be wrong, I think the guy that does the firewood processing there bought it from the fellow down in Brattleboro.
Yeah, I noticed the logs there on the.
So it did have basically a stone cutting operation and fairly high-tech carbon nanotube coating facility. And then it did have a chemical company that was rather sketchy in my opinion. It had a lot of things that scared a lot of people when we finally went down there to look at what was remaining from that operation. They basically did contract chemical formulation and compounding for industrial or military purposes. And there's a lot of stuff that was kind of hazardous. And not a lot of cooperation. You want to get a lot of detail on it, talk to Rich Thompson. Yes, yeah. Or to go in there as health officer and fire chief at the time. But I got to walk through, so. Back when I was fire chief and I saw some of the things that.
The all interest included up for.
Well, that was part of the problem that they didn't do. A very good job of housekeeping.
Yeah.
And the guy that owned the whole building, owner of or I think former owner of a auto dealership in Brattleboro had his car collection and the rest of it. Way down at the end, there was a manufacturer of surgical instruments, forces and skeleton and all that kind of stuff.
Well, we had a contest in the Grafton News, asked people to make suggestions for developing that site.
You have to have cooperation of the owner, though.
Well, we don't, I don't know if we need that cooperation to have a contest to do anything, yes.
Be interesting, but,
You know, I mean, it's, you think about it, it's a site, it's underutilized in terms of employment, you know. Think outside of the box and I can't, maybe someone else can, you know.
So that's Cambridgeport is its own individual municipality, or is
No,
Cambridgeport
it's-
part of Grafton?
Until you get to
it's just
the other
half
side
that
of
building.
the shore.
Say again? This,
It's the other side or this side of the shore,
This side.
the line
It
between.
is this side of
Rockingham-
the store.
Just past the Unified Building.
Yeah, the store pays, you know, property taxes in Rockingham.
the store, the closed little,
Yes.
the little general store that's.
Yeah.
That's in Rockingham. Okay. You step outside and walk 10 feet first draft and you're in Grafton. It's just where the line is, and there happened to be a, you know, a small, at one time, a substantial village there. You look at the old photos and
Yeah.
it's quite a substantial place. I had a bell like every other place in the world. So that's a Grafton site that's, you know, we're talking about the environment.
It is, except it's, marginally acceptable as far as what may be coming in terms of flooding.
Yeah, but it's still, you know, not, it's worthwhile thinking about, you know.
Yeah, it's a building
The
that's
thinking
already
is about
there.
Grafton Village, and can we do something across the street here or something like that? And the answer is probably not.
Yeah, it's already there.
And you could probably put a septic there.
Yeah.
Down to it.
We
Give me
already
the
have,
answer to everything.
we already have a solar field there, so we have,
Could put the nursing home. The high
but it's, you know,
density.
it's a site that, you know, has. Worthwhile thinking about.
Certainly, I didn't, so it probably is a brownfield, though, if you would think after all these years.
And that's a brownfield issues, I think there. Maybe more where, the brownfield existed because of, septic contamination from the days it was a printing operation. And they ran some stuff into the leach field that shouldn't have. And I remember the south side of the building having two big mounds of soil were on tarps and covered with tarps, that were removed and, sent out to some kind of remediation. They landfilled it, or burned it in a furnace, or whatever they did with it. I believe all the issues brownfield related for that building have been cleared up.
So it's worthwhile thinking about, and asking other people. Something that I always have in mind for years is Grafton would be a good location for a private school. And I always thought about hidden orchards, there are buildings there, and open fields and everything. Perfect for a school, 40, 50 students and a dozen teachers and staff earning money in Grafton, spending money there. Okay. Something like that. And then all this probably needs to be thought more and more under the auspices of Act 250. We can get it, right? That needs to be addressed.
It's also what I would be a little bit concerned about with flooding.
Yeah.
Huge flood coming down through there might make those buildings stream side.
Yep. I don't think the buildings were flooded last time. I'm not quite sure why. Just fine. Feels it.
Now, we go up the next level where the great said there. Oh, there, that level is floodproof. I would hope it would be anyway. That's about the same elevation that you're living at.
Yeah. You can ask them to donate that property.
But I think we should be looking towards elevations like that for our substantial municipally promoted kind of economic development and give stuff out of the floodwaters. Anybody that's looked seriously at what happened in the western hills of North Carolina or up into Pennsylvania from that Helene flooding would understand that we have similar topography. And we've never had the deluge of water that they had. And they had stuff that's just, you know, ripped the hole right through. I hope that they're going to move their infrastructure up higher, but if they try and rebuild, it's just gonna get wiped again.
Then we'll rebuild, we'll get things again. Well, it's guaranteed. You would think that, people would learn that, but yeah.
So people will learn that very quickly as this becomes more and more common and.
No, Florida, every 10 years, it's wiped out and they rebuild.
What's that?
Florida, they rebuild every 10 years after they get wiped out.
People are looking to FEMA as a bottomless hole of money to pull out of, and after a while, it's gonna get empty, and it's not that awfully far off, I'm afraid. When that money isn't coming in, then the local people are gonna have to figure out how they rebuild. Maybe they'll get smart then, that maybe they had another build on the street bank.
They'll go away, we're still doing
Sure, we can spend the rest of our lives worrying about being close to stream banks and so on. It's, it might happen again, you know, might not. Chances are not, you know, these are, I think. What I'm learning, not that I'm necessarily right, is that these so-called 100-year and 500-year flood events and discussions just means that our database is crap.
Right,
Yeah, absolute crap. We
Based
don't,
on
what was the
old-
last 500-year flood that we know about and all this stuff, you know, there's no database on this stuff, it's like garbage in, garbage out, and it's not, computers are getting started writing programs,
Yeah.
So, that, to me, that's where I agree with you, Eric, is it's worthwhile trying to develop a valuable database. I happened to be in Asheville just a few weeks before the event. It's in a gorgeous area, it's absolutely stunning. And so they were saturated, and they had heavy rains for quite some time. There was just an incredibly bad time. That's sad, but it was so sad to see it. I was just there a couple of days, but beautiful area. The ground was saturated. Well, just the rain.
Yeah.
It,
No,
When the damn market was low.
when, we were flooded, I think it was in '96. It was a storm that's basically sat on top of town of Wyndham. And dumped, I think about 9 inches of rain in 4 or 5 hours, and that,
96, yeah, well, I know that one very well, and, it's the NOAA, but they actually did a study of it. So again, you had saturated ground, but we had storm, a cell just sat in the same spot. And then West Grafton. Late afternoon, 4.5 inches, I think, in a couple of hours. And the next day, then, the same damn time, the same thing happened, and these are, each of those is a rare event, you know. So, extremely rare events at the same time, and of course, it wiped out everything. After. But, they did a study, which you can get online, it's there. And one of the things they threw out at the end, which is interesting because it's just a bureaucratic agency, is they started wondering about the shape of that, because it doesn't seem that, but once they raise it, there's like a bowl here.
yeah,
So you have a low lying column full of rain, and it gets caught. Gets caught once every 50 years, you know, in 2 days in a row, but, you know, so they thought that might be an actual contributor to the event, because they couldn't figure out why this happened in the first place, and so they thought, you know, and, you know, they had all their data and everything, and they're very, very low hanging clouds, fully saturated, and they just thought they weren't allowed to move for a couple of months. But then it happened 2 days in a row. No one had an explanation for it.
first,
That's
Part of
an
the-
act of God, you know, that.
first part of the storm hit the South Branch, I remember that was pretty well devastated.
Yeah,
And then we had North Branch. And we were cut off.
oh, yeah. For about 6 weeks, I had to drive 25 miles out of my way in order to head south to go to work. That's what New York. So, keep going. All the way around, back end, up the, you know, finally get the Chester, but not directly, and come down. One of the three to touch the interstate.
Well, here's a good point, Renee, economic development, consider the elevation and where you go.
Yeah.
And. All right. Any other chapter 3 discussion? I think that our commitment to reinvest our time for our next. So are we gonna do chapter 3 again and spend a little more time on it? Or I think Ron said that.
Yeah, I give Matt a chance, and also we can do chapter 4 at the same time.
It's also a short one, yeah.
Yeah.
Chapter 4 is
Yeah.
very short.
And it's also
and
really
it's
about getting
a
updated.
discussion.
And it's about getting updated more than anything.
We'll get to. We'll focus on both.
Yeah.
All right.
You know, because thinking back on chapter 4, you remember better than me, but at the time when I was on the select board, we were still fooling around with some of these class 4 roads or something like that, you know, the end result of what you've got after paths or something like that. And some of them still had to be brought in within state guidance, I don't remember. the particular. So I remember working with Bill Kearns at the time. You know, to make some changes. But it was just, so it was like instead of 18.79 miles of this type of road, you ended up with 18.82 or something. I think figured that out. But that was before this was adopted, so I don't think we've done any changes since then.
Really?
Not that, I haven't been on board with anything.
Changes to the road mileage is, very conservative, they don't move very much.
Yeah, no, it just. There was reclassification going on. In the mid 2010s, that was happening while I was on the select board. But that was it wasn't changing the total amount, it was just putting in the right categories.
Can you guys just educate me? I read in the Grafton News that down at the bottom of Fisher Hill, that they were gonna take Theron Fisher Road off of being a city road. And did you read that? Did anybody see that?
Yeah, they're discontinued.
Discontinued. So why would, what prompts that? Was that the owner's decision? Is that?
Actually, the owners, the present owners requested. And it's to the town's advantage to do that.
It
Because,
is less to do.
because town otherwise is liable for maintenance.
Right.
But that used to be the road. It used to go up the driveway between the barn and the house and then on up the hill.
Oh, really?
That was the road.
That's how you went up Fisher Hill?
And if you look across, if you're on my side of the river, and look across and see that big,
You see where the old
stone
bridge-
embankment right
Yeah,
there.
the old bridge used to be. down
That's the
there.
bridge abutment for the covered bridge that came across.
Oh, yeah.
That's the original Walker Bridge.
I gotta take a look at it.
It was like, a lot of the old farms were like that, because you don't put your barn too far from the road when the milkship was being
Right,
picked.
yeah,
And so, yeah, the road went between the house and the barn up there, and now it's just like it does with where our house is, and the barn was across the road. And then the Cloughs, when we went down over the back of the hill, the road is where it is now, it went between the house and the barn there too. And now it's over to the right of it.
And the road is now just overgrown or?
Yeah, you can actually see where, they have a gate. And it's kind of like grass now, but they open it up, they have it open right now, where you can see the road just coming through. And it used to be an S turn. Coming back there, it wasn't a big curve like it is now.
And after that, someone named Clough there decided that they wanted to have their lawn
yeah.
on the edge of the road and build a little gazebo or wishing well thing.
Yeah.
Put it, right on the shoulder of the road.
It was right on the edge.
Yeah, my wife was on the select board at the time. and
Was this on the
shared.
same side of the
She went
street
through the
as,
bus.
Ivan's
A
house?
few feet.
Well, this was close on the back side of the hill. It was
My
on the
feeling
same side of their house.
The road foreman should have gone through there with a grader and a wing plow and just.
That's called, it's all.
There we go, so if you drive around.
So that's why that was a kind of.
If you drive around Vermont,
That's just historic.
You know, if you drive around Vermont and you're especially, off the main roads, but even still paved roads. You will go between a house and a barn. Everywhere.
Everywhere. I see it all the time.
That's the way it's done.
Plus a garden road. All the farms are lined up like that.
Yeah, Middletown Road.
Exactly.
But yeah, that was why, so I guess it just always stayed on the rolls and then they just asked for it to be taken off.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a few novels, like, it's class 4, the Bell Road that goes over to Anderson Road. It comes out on Cambridgeport Road, and the town crew has to actually drive out of Grafton and plow back up on that road. It's interesting, and then there's a little section of Canterbury Road that did some grafting too.
Yeah, well, that's still allowed, they're gonna, the drug sellers that get in and out quickly.
That's the Anderson Road, I've heard that. Somebody said there was a raid there a few weeks ago.
Yeah, there was, no, the guy's in jail.
Was he? Yeah, I heard that.
He was on Anderson?
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a house way up at the end of it. So
Something put a cruiser down
I
here.
went up
Bell
on
Road,
like that, and just in the-
flushing out off the top.
Anderson, and then turned to the bell.
Yep.
And I came down there, and that was a little hairy for an old man like me, to
Yeah,
go down to this, and it was really kind of really rocky. Road, I mean, I can't believe it was in a class 4, it was really pretty.
yeah, I've driven my truck over it, so.
Yeah, so I think when you were on the select board,
Yeah.
the top of the hill, down
my
to east
Reggie,
was turned into a prayer, official prayer,
Yeah.
as opposed to class 4.
Right, it was a couple of other night.
alright, so
anyways, I suggest that we do 3 and 4 next time,
I agree,
no.
okay,
I can imagine on we might wanna, note that, the Walker Bridge being built, something like that, a couple of things like that, but
right,
there really isn't much, to discuss on it.
alright. Shall we, move on to item 4? And I don't have any information on this, but the discussion on national water law, global resilience Institute.
Was that, Matt?
It had to
Yeah,
be,
you should know
and my sense is, I'm wary of any new institute that pops up without knowing more about it,
So we table that for next meeting on
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah,
So I saved a bunch of stuff that I was actually approached to participate in one of their surveys.
whose is this?
The national water model is being,
Oh, so you
this
just,
survey, I didn't have anything to do with this agenda item. But I did get a couple of emails and I've been very busy over this past month and when I saw that, what is the national water model? And if I'd paid more attention to a couple of emails this past month, then I would have known more about it. But, I'm gonna, as long as they continue to follow through with the invitation, participate in a survey about it. The national water model is in fact something that was put together by NOAA. And the survey is coming out of Northeastern University. The- And the national water center.
That when they bring all the water to it.
Anyway, under our mission. National Water Center's mission is to promote collaboration across the scientific community, serving both as a catalyst to accelerate the transition of research into operations and a center of excellence for water resources, science, information, and prediction services. These services inform essential emergency management and water resources decisions across all time scales, including drought, low flow risks, and information needs for routine and long range water management and planning. So that gives some bullets here. Strengthen the national water forecast capabilities by serving as an innovation incubator and research accelerator to bring the most cutting edge technologies to bear on national water challenges. That's one. Improve national preparedness for water-related disasters through delivery of high-resolution flood forecast, inundation maps, and other associated services. Support integrated water resources management at the local, state, regional, and national levels. Inform event-driven, high-impact and routine, high-value water decisions at the local, state, regional, and national levels. And provide water information that supports and promotes informed water stewardship. Pretty broad. So, I guess there are kind of two areas that this may be of benefit to us to have knowledge of at least, and that one is the threat during water emergencies. And the other is, according to that last bullet there, for water quality, and I personally believe that groundwater quality is a more pressing and critical concern to our state than our surface waters. Even though getting algae and Lake Carmen and algae blooms in the Lake Champlain and all that sort of things are quick, immediate, panicking and annoying to people. Keeping our water in our ground pure is a much more vital concern. And get that off in the good box. Anyway, that's what the whole shebang is supposed to be. And if they give me the interview that they're supposed to for their survey, get back to you next month and tell you what's going on. Good. Thank you. All right, item 5 is PC budget. And this came up in the last meeting, and then after that was posted and Morgan sent a follow-up that our budget last year for PC budget was $2,500, and we spent $40.85. No, $40.50 of the 2,500 budget, and she was asking what we'd like to put in the upcoming budget, and Matt responded that our next meeting was November 12th, and we would put it on the agenda, which it is here. And he said he would venture to request, or he would venture to say that we would request the same budget amount as a starting point, and that we would potentially have additional discussion. But to get that in the plan, and then Morgan said, sounds good. So I think she moved forward with that number, and then we're here for this meeting for any additional discussion. Don't have any more information.
Yeah, it's for me, it's a tough one. If we knew what we wanted to spend next year, we talked about, maybe spending time to hire someone to.
Yeah. We,
We're so unclear about that and about the timing,
yeah,
so that worries me.
I need to do a follow-up with Morgan because I asked her about getting in contact with the company.
Yeah.
And she said that she had a meeting already set. And then I never got back to her with the results of that, to find out what feedback she got. So I can do a follow-up.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, this is the company?
Yeah, the one that we've been using.
it's the reason I worry that is that in the past, you remember this as well. 20 and more years ago, or 15 more years ago. We look at the town budgets, each of the various subgroups, and 8 or 10 major subgroups, you know, for items to spend on, would have a line for miscellaneous. And they throw in $1,000, $1,500. And what that meant is that you could go and you could spend your money, if you didn't overspend that line item, okay? You didn't have to say what the hell you were spending it on, you know, just miscellaneous. Also, if you didn't spend it at the end of the year, you can come in front of the voters and say, look at, you know, we got our $680,000 budget there, and we came within it. Well, it's because you over budgeted by about $25,000 for all these miscellaneous items. Okay? It was a way of both padding and protecting yourself from the voter. You know, there are a lot of us that we were upset about, and my wife, Anna, she actually led the fight when she was on the select board and do away with that. Did a pretty good job. There's not much there now that's, you know, that isn't accounted for with a direct intent to spend and the rationale. So I bring it up here because the planning commission is to be faulted on that, because we regularly have more money in there than we look at that, and we don't change it there. And so, as a good government person, I say, if we don't have any real reason to think that we need to spend that money next year, it shouldn't be there. You know, there should be $2,000 left for the voters to vote on in terms of the total budget. A couple of years ago, we spent a few $100s because we did these blown up maps. And the last time we spent real money was when we had Chuck. We were paying him this year, back in 2018, 19. Because he was doing real work that we needed done.
So it's regular and pretty.
Yeah.
So put the
But
other way
that would be
around.
a special item, you know, we could even go to the town and say, look at. We've gotta do this, we've gotta do it this year, and we didn't have it in the budget, or maybe we got our act together, so like next fall. We have an idea for 2026, which we're gonna have to do because we have a new plan in place.
But if you don't have, so I guess the question, and I don't know how the budgeting works, but for example, just, I think you're right. You know, so you don't have a plan to spend $2,500 now, don't ask for it. But then if 2 months from now, you decide you need Chuck or whatever, is it?
We would literally have to go in front of the.
Fine, and how do you think that would go? If it would go well, then you just don't know.
If we can't sell it, you know, that's our fault. I don't know, but I believe you, what's the matter? Is it $500? You can spend up to $500 without, you know, going in front of the town, you know. That's not in the.
Right, but this would be real. Let's say it's $2,000. You'd have to go to the town. You would have to make the cases. It wouldn't be in your budget. And the town for good or ill could either approve it or not.
Yeah, and you know, and that's and so over the years. People avoided that possibility by padding the budget.
So now, let's just say they say no, right? Worst case, they say no, then you go to say, well, I'm gonna wait till my next budget season and I'll put it in then. But if they already know what it's for, could they then not give you the budget? Say, you know what I'm saying, like, you came in asking $2,000 for some assistance.
Yeah.
And they don't like that idea for love or money. And then half a year later, you put it in your budget.
It could happen, yeah,
Could happen.
I don't think it would, you know, we don't have a poor relationship with
Right.
our select board. And so I don't see that as, you know, really coming up.
And I'm not trying to be overly
No, I'm
political.
just saying.
Yeah.
But, you know, this is the budget that would start in July, so it goes July 25 to June 26, so it takes you right through half of 26.
Yeah.
So. And I know from last time that we really benefited by hiring an expert to help us, okay? But we, you know, when will we need that? Will we actually need it in the same way this time? I don't know. Last time, you know. There was the issue of wind and just energy in general, that was very, very hard to tackle. And it was the first time. But the end result was we had a really good energy chart. As a basis, which we didn't have before. So I'm not sure if we would need the same kind of help and the same amount of help.
I agree with that. I don't think we need as much. I think we need some. And I think we'll probably find that most easily contained from the regional.
It still costs some money.
And still costs some money. And is an identifiable expense that we could have as part of our budget. Was the real intent to spend it. And it could be used as the town contribution under the municipal planning grant, which I think if, you know, if we follow the normal kind of evolution of our town plan update, we should be doing something about serious fashion by next fall. That falls within the budget year that we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Don't think we need the meeting by meeting help that we had before to do that. Also, we had targeted these things last year, and basically they said, well, we're gonna take care of it in the select board's budget, and they didn't, so I think we should go back and tackle that as an identifiable budget item that we intend to spend money.
I'd suggest, let's make it 1,500. Because, you know, we have some expenses that if we're on top of things properly, we will probably have the base.
I would
If
guess
we do
that
this,
fixing this
we
is,
might want to get some numbers on this.
yeah, I don't think you're gonna be able to fix this problem here. Probably gonna cost $2,000, but I could be pleasantly surprised.
Well, you know, like, so our job to do it, or, you know. or
I think it's at least in our best interest to have the job done, because the select board is basically not that interested. They are here.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
They don't bring in people from across the country to talk to us on the basis of issues that we're interested in.
Well, then. If we think this would be a major item. Then why not commit ourselves to saying, okay, we asked for $2,500 and we do this, we actually do it. We've been talking about this for months. You know? We don't like it and everything, so, you know.
We're gonna fix that, I think, just as a wild ass guess of hours, I think you're talking maybe, let's say 60 to 80 hours worth of WRC staff time. And I don't know what they charge per hour, but I think it's probably gonna be north of 35 and less than 50 somewhere there.
Well, that would be $2,000 or so.
But part of that, if we time things correctly, could be from a municipal planning grant.
Well. How about? We've got $2,500 in the budget. We've spent like $50 or something. And that's through June 30th. So let's take care of this now. Okay. And commit ourselves to whatever is necessary to.
Like that idea?
We take care of this now. And, you know, I'm willing to myself, consider the notion that, we will need some sort of expert help. Certainly the latter part of 25, for sure, at some point in 26, if we're going to meet our deadlines. And so on that basis, I'm going to say, okay, give us a $2,500. That makes sense? But we have to do this with the budget we have now, because there's no other item that requires funding for the next 6 months.
Right.
And so if we do, so the next thing we do, go to Morgan and say, find out the options, or how do we get it done?
Yeah, I think she was doing that. I just haven't heard anything back from what they were.
So, so we can just say, look, at this is a priority, we want to have this spent from our current budget.
Just tell me again, and what are we trying to do? Just get better AV, period. That ties into these computers.
Yeah,
But that's
especially better audio.
better.
Audio has to be way better and video could be
I
better.
mean,
Video could be better, but the audio really needs to be.
I can't promise anything, but if I could if someone could give me a scope of whatever it is, whatever specifics, I'd be happy to ask my IT geniuses and see what they, what, again, to the extent that they're not budget constrained, they may not be, it may not make sense, but I'm sure they'd be happy to just throw out some ideas if you, I don't, but again, I know nothing about any of this, so if somebody gave me, a fact sheet of what it's supposed to be, I'd be happy to run by them.
So,
Public hearing work about this size with.
in Ogden, that you're associated with, do they hold meetings where they're actually trying to have people tell community in with interactions in their meetings?
They do, they do, they have, but that, they have really high-end stuff. I mean, that's,
Yeah,
it's in a conference room, and it's on a
The
big
video wall.
video wall and, speakers in the tables and, whatever. So I don't know, but that's,
Pretty cool stuff.
but, that's not to say they don't also, just have some ideas of,
here we've got
do it
the
yourself kind of thing.
added complication of being able to pick up individual
Right. the public
speakers,
comment.
at least audio wise. Wherever they might be sitting. Instead of having.
So I think audio is pretty key. Video is nice.
Yeah, the video's nice, just to be able to identify who's talking, but you gotta understand what they're saying, and that's definitely missing right now.
Whatever, again, I don't know, I'm not looking to make this hard, but I'm happy to try to get some information and from me to. I'm not good, I hate playing telephone, I hate to, and I don't do it well, why they're getting the wrong thing.
Well, it's a 30 by 40 room, and it has to be able to pick up voices from pretty much everywhere.
That you
And
think
get
the only
them out.
spec, that sounds good to me.
And get them out over a Zoom one.
Yeah, that's the primary.
But just let's do this on this budget.
Yeah, like that idea. Should we have that? Raised to the administrative level of saying we make a motion to have this audio and visual. Problem with Zoom fixed with our budget this year.
Yeah, let's
Sounds
do
good.
it, let's, get it out there.
I'll
so we
second that.
All in favor?
I think the collaborators we fail again,
All right. Anything else on planning commission budget? Okay. Item 6, old business. And it mentions town plan, local group viewpoints. That may have been Matt's
That was-
question when gathering of information. So I didn't get anything from him on this feedback.
I suggest we just put that item off the next meeting.
And we should also toggle him relative to the PFAS. Remediation. Like to his friend in Texas. So that. Eventually, maybe we'll have this problem here fixed for the time he gets around to being able to talk with him.
Right. Okay, item 7, new business. Okay. Public comment. I did not see anybody on the Zoom link when I opened it. Right, item 9, our next meeting is scheduled for December 10th. Yeah. You're gonna trip right after that. We'll be right. Okay. Meeting adjourned. Is that a record?
Okay.
Earlier.
Well, and part of it too, the first.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably the right time.
Yeah, but that we wasn't feeling, that's the part everybody.
Is this your pen or was this?
No, it's. Okay.
And then, we might have to feed along the way. So we could just do the tail bar. You get the good bolt.
Yeah. If you deadbolted the office door down here and then exited over the door at the bottom there, closed. I think that would work. I do have a key to operate the office door.
Woman, be well, enjoy.